Back to the next episode. Today is Sunday, February 19th, but we're going to be backtracking it a couple days to Thursday, February 16th. A bit of a long day. Mina and I woke up around 10 o'clock, and we were out of the house by 11, so I could get her to the airport. I got her there around, I expected to get her there around noon, but actually we made it there by 11:30, and I made it home by noon. And it was, I didn't like having to put her on the airplane. She's going to be gone for a while. She gets back basically beginning of April. She's gone for a good 6 weeks or so. And like, I dropped her off, and I was driving back home, and I felt like throwing up. Like, I did not like having to drive her away from home. But she is going to be coming back after a while, so, you know, it's all good. Anyway, I got home and I had some lunch because she made some awesome food, and I had some of that for lunch. And then I headed off to a good 8 hours of electricity. Yay! So the lecture for PAE, which is month 8, day number, what is this? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Month 8, day number 14. Oh, what a day. It was one of those days, it was just, man, like, I did not want to be at school, you know. Like, I was sad that Mina had to go away. 2, I was tired. 3, the lesson stuff was just so over my head. Like, my friend, okay, I'll be honest. That day in lecture, I didn't even really pay attention at all. Like, I would usually only pay attention when he said something like, okay, so when it comes down to it, this is what it is. Kind of like a summary of what he was talking about. But for the most part, I'll be honest, I really didn't pay attention just because I just did not have it in me that day. We discussed a grounding and system noise. And my friend Kevin, who was like, I guess you would say he's a little more hardcore than me about the school. He paid attention the whole time. I mean, he always pays attention. I mean, he is on the ball with the school stuff, and he was like, dude, that stuff was way over my head. So, I think everybody in the class was basically lost and confused. And to top it off, even the instructor was like, now I understand that this stuff is pretty complicated, and to be honest, you know, the grounding and system noise is something that takes an entire career to really understand that well. So, a 4-hour lecture probably did it no justice. It introduced it to us, but that's about it. And I'll let you take a look at the notes, and I need to study them too. That's probably what I'm going to do after I get done with these videos, but, I mean, God, it was just one of those days, you know. Here's the first page of the notes. You know, I paid attention enough to get the blanks filled in, basically, and even then, some of them I didn't get, and I had to, you know, get them from a friend, after class. Here's some more of it. Talked a lot about impedance that day, which is kind of like resistance. These different types of things. And here's the last page. And my friend Ashwin kept looking back at me. He was like, I mean, it was that tough, and he was like, do you have this blank? And I'm like, nah, man. So, I don't know, it was just one of those days. And then, so that was the lecture, I guess, kind of in a nutshell. Like I said, I really didn't pay attention. It wasn't that interesting. It's important stuff, and I'm going to understand it at some point. But right now, or for that particular day, it was just like, you know. But the lab wasn't so bad. The lecture was boring as crap. The lab for PAE that evening was not so bad because we were busy the whole time and we were actively doing something. Basically what we did was we created a bunch of power cables and even made a quad box, which is like, I mean, you'll see them a lot outside where it has just 4 plug-ins and it's like an extension or whatever. But yeah, the objectives for the lab was to understand importance of build quality. So one of the main points they stressed that night was take your time and worry about quality over quantity. So they really wanted us to get down and get picky about how good our finished product was. So that was a big key point, was, you know, really doing a good job on it. The second objective was to apply wiring practices to 2 electrical projects. And finally, we had to identify common power connectors and conductors. Really, I would say the first objective was the only one that was really hit on really good, because like I said, we were just making a bunch of stuff and putting cables to plug-ins and to jacks and plugs. So, I mean, it was pretty cool. The first thing we had to do was make just a simple, like, Edison plug, or jack, no, yeah, plug. Jacks are female, plugs are male. So anyway, we had to make, like, just your basic plug-in cord and then get it signed, saying that it was good. And we also had to do a PowerCon cable, which it looks the exact same as a Speak-On cable, but it's for electricity instead of audio signal. And once again, we had to get that signed. So once we had the complete cable, I had to get it signed. So there was the Edison plug that went into the PowerCon connector. So that was the first one. That wasn't so bad. There was no soldering. It was just putting it was like stripping the wire, and then putting the exposed wire in the little socket, and then screwing it down. And after that came the quad docks, which actually wasn't too hard. The hardest part was getting the cables to all bend and fold inside of the little box. That was tough. And then with that, there was the part where we had the little twisty connector. It was shoving all those cables in the twisty and then twisting it and having it stick. That was tough. Yeah, we had to do all these steps here and prep all of these with all the wires. And once again, once we got to a certain checkpoint, we had to have it signed that we did it correctly and well enough. And then we put the things in the box, and then we basically put it all together, and yeah, it was good. And we didn't get to keep any of these. It wasn't that type of a lab. We had to, basically, once we had made everything and got everything checked off, we had to take it all apart. So I guess you would technically say it was a waste of time, but it was a learning thing. So yeah, it was actually a pretty fun lab. Yeah, so when the way I would sum it up is the lecture was boring, the lab was fun, and it kept my mind off of having to send Mina away. At least the lab did. For lecture, that's all I was thinking about. The lab, I was doing something, it took my mind off of it, but then when I got back home and nobody was here, I was just like, you know, so. But I'm going to stop whining about it. I shouldn't whine. Like, I figure if my dad's in the Navy, I figure if my stepmom and my dad can be apart for like 9 months while he's over in wherever the Navy goes, then I can handle, you know, like 6 weeks of having my other half away, so it's all good. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate people checking out the videos. I hope they're working. I know I'm going to like the extreme with these videos, like every day. I mean, that's crazy. But you know, I want to help people out. That was something that I kind of thought was funny. Like, you know, I only came across people that would do like 1 video a month. And like, yeah, that kind of helped, but like I really wanted some more insight. So hopefully I can help somebody by giving that type of insight. And hopefully you can figure out whether the school's for you, which hopefully it is, because Full Sail is awesome. We do serious work here. It's good. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the next video, and I will hopefully see you there.